A New Hampshire student is suing his school resource officer, principal, vice principal, and superintendent for interrogating him and searching his car simply because they knew he supported the Second Amendment. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. On Thursday, 18-year-old Jack Harrington from New Hampshire filed a lawsuit against his high school and school officials alleging he was singled out and illegally searched simply because they knew he was a gun owner, though they interrogated him based solely on a rumor that he was a gun owner. Harrington graduated from the Hillsborough Deering High School in June, only 2 months after he says he endured harassment from the school over an overheard conversation between him and another student about his activities outside of school. At the time of the interrogation and the search, he was already 18 and no longer a minor. Now, before I get into the details on this story, this video is brought to you with the help of the Attorneys on Retainer program from the Attorneys for Freedom. If you ever find yourself in a self-defense incident, you do not want to have to face it alone. The folks in the Attorneys on Retainer program are actual attorneys whose entire job it is to give you legal advice and represent you if you use your gun in self-defense. They are not an insurance company, so their only requirements are that the incident happened after you signed up and that you reasonably acted within good faith. They are not there to protect their own butts with fine print or liability, and you are not sent through the rigmarole of an insurance adjuster before a lawyer even looks at your case, which is what typically happens with insurance companies. They cover everything from felonies to misdemeanors, appeals, and even bail bonds. This year, they also added civil liability coverage, expungement, and red flag protection. Now, of course, the extras come with a catch of a bump to the fees, but if you lock in before January, you will get all the extra benefits without the extra cost. So use my link down in the description and use code LibertyDoll to get $50 off your individual sign-up fee. So, according to the lawsuit, this whole incident started over a conversation Jack had with a friend. Sometime this April, while on a bus ride to a basketball game, Jack told a friend about a time that he'd been pulled over while driving, had been nervous as he was a new gun owner at the time, and had his gun stored legally in the glove box where he also kept the registration. He told a friend how the interaction went, how he told the cop about the gun, and the stop had gone fine and was otherwise uneventful. The stop did not occur on school grounds, to or from school grounds, or to or from any school activities. Wasn't even during school hours. He never told anyone that he ever brought his gun to school, had any intention of bringing the gun to school, planned to use it unlawfully, or did he ever claim the interaction with the cop was related to school or school grounds in any way. The traffic stop also happened weeks prior. Somehow, the school administration, and thus the school resource officer, became aware of this conversation. And despite no evidence of a crime, no probable cause, no threats, no violence, Jack was removed from class on the morning of April 24th. In fact, the vice principal came to fetch him personally and told him to immediately report to the principal's office, which of course causes a little bit of a scene. Once the principal's office, the principal, vice principal, and school resource officer all began questioning him about his gun ownership. They said that they'd gotten information that he was a gun owner, asked if it was true, which he confirmed, and asked if he ever had a gun in his truck, which he said yes, sometimes he transported the gun in the car, but never to school. According to court documents, they questioned him about being a gun owner for approximately 15 minutes. Then the school resource officer, Michael DeTuris, claimed that the school had to search the vehicle, no choice, and admitted that the school superintendent, Jennifer Crawford, had already ordered the search even before this meeting. Jack refused several times, but again was told that he had no say in the matter. The SRO even told him, "You can say whatever you want, we're going to search it anyway." They told him that he had no choice but to consent. But realistically, if they believed there was a real threat, they would have just searched it, right? Without pulling him aside and questioning him first. Now, the law does allow the school to execute searches, but only with probable cause or evidence that a crime has occurred. But there was none of that. The only information they actually had was that he had followed the law. The questioning continued on for however long, so Jack called his parents. He was forced to make the call on speakerphone. According to court documents, he was very distressed, told his parents that the school kept telling him they had no choice but to search his truck and that he had to let them do it. The parents, Thomas and Betsy, also said they did not consent and advised him to continue not consenting, while on speakerphone. So everybody heard it. They told him that if the harassment continued and that the school did indeed search his truck to try and film it. The school officials and SRO then made him hang up the phone on his parents. Then, the school officials took him out to the parking lot, again without anyone's consent, and demanded he open the truck. He continued to say no, continued to deny having a gun on school grounds, and you know what they did? They forced the truck open. Not as in they took his keys and unlocked it, as in they forced open a locked vehicle, without probable cause or any evidence of a crime. And you know what they found? No guns. Zero. Zilch. Nada. They didn't even find a single empty shell. Jack's dad showed up as they were walking back into the school. He was approached by both Jack and Principal O'Rourke, who claimed they'd done nothing illegal and that they had a statement that he keeps a gun in the glove box. And based on this statement that Jack denied and the description of a conversation about an event that had happened weeks earlier, off school grounds and not during school hours, they violated his Fourth Amendment rights. Jack's dad wrote a nasty letter to the school the next day, calling the search illegal and listing the ways that they'd violated his son's rights, and then, all of a sudden, the officials tried to turn things around and claimed it wasn't a search. Instead, it was a view. Per the lawsuit, by letter to Thomas dated May 13, 2025, Crawford concluded, based upon my review of the facts in this matter, I have concluded that there was not a search of the car your son brought to school. Therefore, I believe the administrators acted appropriately to confirm that there was not a firearm on school property. Possession of a firearm on school property is contrary to school policies and federal law. In support of her conclusion, Crawford claimed that Harrington had allowed McGinn to view the contents of the subject's vehicle's glove box and that Jack had consented to this, quote, view. She further claimed that the view was acceptable since deterrence was present throughout the process. Their statement of his consent, by the way, was Jack saying, "You're just going to search it anyway?" Clearly, by this attempt at reframing, they realized they'd done messed up and had illegally broken into the truck and the glove box. So, Jack is suing for damages due to the violation of the constitutional rights, the damage to his reputation that there was all this drama about him bringing a gun to school, and the parking lot spectacle, as well as lost classroom time and the attorney's fees that will come out of it. And they might have a case because at the end of the day, the only thing that the school was operating on was a rumor that Jack legally exercises his Second Amendment rights. I'll be very interested to see if the school tries to settle this or actually takes it to court. This will be a fun one to watch for sure. In the meantime, you guys know the drill for all of the outgrown things. Please do them. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there and happy shooting.